Captain's Log, April 17th, 2026. Hello, I'm Captain Vile. Good on you! You've made it to Friday. So, a bit of an odd, well, not really that odd, actually, thing for movies this week. So, I've not watched my father's pick yet. That was Subway, the Luc Besson movie. I will get to that in due time. But I did watch two things. Or more. So, I figured I did Hoppers, which was Pixar's thing, and then I watched Zootopia, which is Disney's thing, I think. I don't know. I know they're both, like, it's Disney Pixar, but I'm pretty sure Zootopia is Disney and Hoppers. I know Hoppers is Pixar, but I don't know. Anyway, I watched Zootopia too. And it was good, I suppose. I mean, no, it was alright. There's some nice parts in it, but overall it's alright. It's fine. I said 3 stars and a heart, because, yeah, I did enjoy some parts into it. It could have been better. But I said, very well done animation. While they were on the nose, I liked how they handle animal gimmicks, like goats climbing or beavers chewing wood. Also, another side tangent here. This is the third goddamn beaver movie I've watched. So, kind of funny, I suppose. Anyway. I thought the snake would have been in it more, and it could have had more reptiles than just the bar scene. I hope they have them more prevalent in the third one, since they'll make use of most animal traits. Since while they make use of most animal traits, there's only so much you can do with birds, and if they course correct to showing more of that movie's animal in the movie, it could be a waste on, like, a hawk or something. By that I mean, they'll take the criticism of this is the reptile movie, but the reptiles aren't in it very much when making the bird movie, and then you just get, like, a bunch of birds. Birds are kind of boring. I mean, they're neat, but there's only kind of so much you can do. With reptiles, they're a lot more diverse. So, I hope they show more of that in this one. But I did like it. I'd say the character... I don't remember when I watched Zootopia 1, but I think it's been a lot longer than when I've last seen it. And thinking about it, I'm thinking of too many talking points at once, because I just realized Zootopia is a little bit like Shrek in terms of how the internet sees it. Or maybe not. Maybe just because of one interesting comic made about Zootopia, which you may know what I'm talking about. If not, then you'll just be confused. But I watched a video on that comic, and it was way weirder than I thought it was. If you're not wanting to go through the time, it turns into like a JFK thing, where Judy Hopps gets assassinated, and in the place of JFK. So that's what I mean when I say that Zootopia is, in terms of how the internet perceives it, a little bit like Shrek. It's not taken very seriously. It's a little wacky, and, like, I don't know. It's a little odd, but it's there, and it's all right. Like, if you engage with the thing, yeah, it's fine. It could be better, but I'd say you'll go in, and you'll be like, yeah, that was, excuse me, an alright use of an hour and a half. The animation is very well done. But it's just, I don't know. No, hang on. I'm not giving it enough credit, because, I mean, there's a reason that, like, Disney Renaissance, like the Robin Hood Disney, is so interesting, because one of the characters, I didn't intend to, like, allude to the snake in Zootopia 2 and the snake in Robin Hood, But they have a snake in that, and they do interesting animation stuff. They make a snake cross its arms, and that's interesting. I mean, like, thinking about it, yeah, you could just make him, like, fold in on himself and replicate arms and whatnot. But there's interesting stuff you can do with anthropomorphized animals, and they do that well in this movie. I can see the appeal of making projects like that. I'm tempted to do one, but I don't know. But why I said I'm going on too many tangents is because when I said Shrek, I had another talking point in that I don't know how I forgot to mention this. The reason I don't have that much a strong opinion on, like, the Shrek movies is I only watched each of them once, and there was like a decade split between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Because my sibling, after watching, I think, like, Shrek 2, it was either Shrek, I don't know, it was relating to Shrek's wife, so I think it was Shrek 2. They had a nightmare where, I forget what specifically happens, but they said it was like a dollhouse POV, so akin to Little Nightmares, if you know that game, where Shrek, like, murders his wife? Either with, like, a knife or an axe, and it, like, terrified them to the point where they like, banned Shrek, and then my parents had to accommodate them and go, okay, no Shrek. We weren't allowed to talk about Shrek. The dream scared them that much, or nightmare, but... So that's why I didn't have too much of a strong opinion on Shrek, because, like, I wasn't allowed to do anything relating to Shrek. I was never able to, like, build an enjoyment for his movies. I saw them once and was like, no. And I was like, alright. And any like... I'd say any attempt to do so was shot down, but there wasn't really much attempt to do so because they were, like, it was... My interest in Shrek was nipped in the bud. It never sprouted. And because it never did, there was never, like, a... Well, in retrospect, maybe I could have, like... I hesitate to say fought for my ability to see Shrek, but really it's just like... I was like, you can't do anything relating to Shrek, Sawyer. So, okay. And then I, like, played with my Legos and whatnot. I didn't care, and I don't now. But that's the main reason I just have this kind of, like, neutral opinion on him. But the other thing I watched, and I say I'm hesitant to say this because it ended on a cliffhanger, kind of. There is an, in quotes, movie. It's actually a song, but it's called Trapped in the Closet by R. Kelly. And I watched chapters 1 through 22 on YouTube. An hour and, I think, 40 minutes. And then it ended on a to be continued. I think there's 24 chapters total, so I've just got 2 left. But it's like, technically... I don't think it's technically a movie. I think it is a movie. I think it's just a very odd movie. Because it is not a musical. It is a song the entire way through. The entire hour and 40 minutes, there is a music loop playing. And, all the characters sing. No, they don't even sing. It's R. Kelly. He is narrating everything. And doing character voices and whatnot. And it's a fascinating watch, honestly. It's hilarious and completely absurd, but fascinating. But I'm definitely going to watch the rest of it. That's why I've not listed it on, like, Letterboxd. I don't even know if it has a Letterboxd. I actually have to look into that. Hang on. Okay, wait, hang on. It does not have one. It's not on Letterboxd. I think, right? No. Okay, I typed in Trapped in the Closet and I got, like, Trapped in the Closet as in, like, gay. But, I mean, that's kind of what the film's about, actually. But it's not there. So when I do, okay, I can't log on Letterboxd, which is a shame, because it deserves to be done that way. It's good. It's very entertaining, absurd, but again, it's fascinating. And it's been referenced in like a bunch of stuff before because of how just crazy it is. Not even just like because what happens in it is insane. But just it's entirely a song. And you've probably heard like parodies. I mean, there's Trapped in the Drive-Thru by Weird Al, which if you know what Weird Al does, I'll put a pin in this. But I've noticed during Captain Log specifically, I do this like if you don't know what blank, and then I explain it. I don't know why I do that instead of just continuing on with. I mean, it's not to fill dead air. I got plenty of skill in just blabbering on without needing to. I mean, I've had to do that for some shows. I will attest to that. But it's not to just have it go up to a certain point. But I don't know. I guess if someone... I think my main point was... Yeah, it's if someone doesn't know what, like, how... If someone didn't know about the Zootopia abortion comic. I didn't say it was the abortion comic when I mentioned it earlier, but it's called the Zootopia abortion... It's not called that. I think it's got an actual name. But it's colloquially... You know what I'm trying to say. Called the abortion comic. When it spirals into the JFK comic. Anywho, you probably know who Weird Al is my point. So, I'm going to continue doing that if you don't know thing, but maybe it's not always necessary. Anyway, he makes a lot of song parodies. He'll take a song... I'm trying to think of... Okay. I'm trying to think of how to say he'll take song A and turn it into song B, and here's how it differs. But I don't know the song A's. I only know the song B's. I only know the Weird Al versions of his songs, not the ones he's parodying. Why can I not pronounce things this evening? Oh my god. Anyway. The only one I know is Party in the USA, which turns into Party in the CIA. And you can go from there. It's parodies. Oh, here, Michael Jackson's Bad becomes Weird Al's Fat. There's their comedy, like, he makes it something stupid, but it's entertaining. He said that Trapped in the Closet was so absurd, he could not make it wacky. He made it the most mundane thing ever. And it is. It's a guy going to a burger place and forgetting his wallet, and he has to turn to his wife, and she pays for it with, like, cash between the seats and whatnot. And it's really just a mundane evening compared to the completely insane evening in this one. Which kind of reminds me of something 30 Rock did, where... I don't remember the character's name, but the episode goes, she makes a song, Weird Al makes a parody of the song, she gets insulted, so she makes a completely absurd song, and then Weird Al makes what the song would have been if she wasn't upset and made a normal song. So I think they say Weird Al Weird Al your song. So that's fun. Nice, just coincidence there. But anyway, when I finish Trapped in the Closet, I did. If you want to watch it yourself, I encourage you to go do so. But I gotta make it clear to you. There is maybe a not even 15, less than that. There is a specific loop that plays throughout the entire thing that goes do 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 do, and then maybe like a water drop or something. And it repeats hundreds of times because it is the main. It's a song. It's looping and looping and looping. I had to watch it in 2 sittings. I got 40 minutes into it and I got a headache, and I turned it off. And I just had to. And I still heard it for a few minutes after turning it off. It was just ringing in my head. So, just go into that knowing you're gonna be hearing that doon 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 over and over again. The music itself is good. It's just it never leaves. Anyway, that's what I watched in more words than were necessary, I will admit. Anyway, I am back in class. That's started again. A focus on editing this term, which is what I did the previous terms, because I was the only one in my groups who knew how to edit, so status quo is status quo. Except no filming. It's just editing, which is a little more convenient. It's nice, I suppose. Focusing on more post-production as we go on. Now. Nothing... Okay. I was really happy. I hid it. But I was really happy to see a particular student had joined the class. Way back. Many Captain's Logs ago. I mentioned that there was a guy who showed up to class one time. And it was like the last class of the term. And he proceeded to just flat out trauma dump that his, like, brother was kidnapped by his stepfather or birth father, and that he just gave his entire life story when the teacher said, "Oh, hello, you can like just tell him about yourself," like intending just, I don't know, "Oh yeah, I got into film school because, I don't know, I saw this film as a kid," instead of like, "Here's what the last 5 years of my life have been." Before that, actually. But yeah, no, he just gave us his entire life story. And to set the scene here, this is the last class of the term. So people didn't show up. I showed up, another guy showed up who was really more of an acquaintance, and of course the teacher showed up. So he's explaining this, like, just opera plot of, like, a Greek tragedy, just very I don't want to be insulting to the guy, but it's kind of absurd just what happened to just the three of us, and it's just an empty room, and, like, we're not like, the teacher's obviously in, like, the corner of the room, and we're in the other corner, and then he's in another corner. So imagine it's just a square, and then there's one unoccupied corner, and he's just, like, projecting to the whole room, projecting, like, loud, but so it's absurd. So he showed up in class, and I had to, like, cover my mouth to hide that, like, Cheshire Cat grin, because I was hoping he would say stuff, and he let something slip out, but it never led to anything substantial. But this was like a packed room. And yes, that is a little bad to want, because that would be like he'd embarrass himself in front of everyone in the course. But it would have been so entertaining. Alright? Is that wrong to want a little entertainment at someone's expense? Yes. But I admit to that, which makes it worse, because I will not be improving as a person, but I'm aware of my fault. But I'll see if I will absolutely keep you all apprised if there's an act 2 to this opera story he's living in. The foul-smelling black sheep is also in our class. But interestingly enough, the previous lecturers just kind of, they'd go, yeah, that's nice, whenever, like, he'd like interrupt them and just play on his phone loudly and listen to, like, I don't know, he goes on these, like, Instagram crap. What are they, reels? He opens, like, reels in class, and they're very loud, and some of them I will not go into explicit detail in what is in them. But you can probably guess, and if you were, like, no, I'm not going to say anything. He's a nuisance. The rest of the lecturers are just kind of, okay, could you stop now? Like, stop it. And when he interrupts them, he's like, okay, that's nice, now back to our lesson plan. This lecturer, for the editing course, looks over at him and says, shut up. Like, shut up. Nope, that's nice, shut up. He does not have any tolerance for him. Which is also amusing. So, I had to hide 2 Cheshire Cat-esque grins while in class today. I'll see if I have to do any for the course. I probably will. I certainly hope that I will. It'll give me practice at doing so. I won't have to very unsubtly, like, put my palm of my hand to my mouth. No, I can just kind of... I mean, it's an audio-only show, you can't tell what I was doing there, but I just, like, forced my upper lip down. Other than that, I do not believe there is anything else. How Riddler is Riddler. I mentioned the update last show, and announced the update this week. Well, the day after that show. But yeah, certainly helped my schedule. Middle of the month, so... No, a little past the middle of the month. I'd say the middle of the month is the 15th. Yeah, it's the middle of the month. So I oughta get working on that bi-monthly animation report, for Diamond Eye and Kevin's trip to Las Vegas. Coming along well, as I've finished an action scene, moving on to a quieter scene that I can zip through, because I don't have to animate that much. Backgrounds certainly take a while, because it's a low energy shot, so I wanted to at least... I don't want to say I'm cutting corners with some backgrounds in the action shots, but if a lot of stuff is moving, and I know for a fact that the scene is not going to be on screen for more than a second, I'm not going to, like, take out all the stops for it. But if a scene is, like, slower, and you're going to be on this shot for a little while, because the characters are talking to one another, then yes, I think I will put a bit more, like, emphasis on the backgrounds. Just to have it, I don't know, so you have something nice to look at, as opposed to the ugly, hideous action scene. Of course, Tamagotchi Life has come out, and if you're in the Discord, you'll see that I've been struggling not to make me's on stream. I've since updating them, made one more. So there's, as of recording, 5. I'm not going to tell you who it is, though. You'll have to find out on stream. You see, that's how I get you. A little hint here, a little hint there. But fun game. Not much else other than say it's just fun. I've been described as having, Captain Vile found out about playing with dolls. whatever. I think it basically is that. But thinking about it, did I ever have? I don't think I had like too many. I had Lego figures that I would often play with. I had this. I don't think I ever did storylines with like toys because I just made comics. So I think I got all of my like creative storylines out on paper. But something I did with my toys was I would recreate movies. I distinctly remember recreating the entirety of Jaws with this like ocean line tanker toy I had, and then this unrelated shark toy. But I don't even think it was like completely accurate. It was only 112 minutes. What's it? No. An hour and 12 minutes, not 112 minutes. Einstein. But yeah, no, I think I left some scenes out. But I got all the shark scenes right. I remember that much. But it was just weird. It was this bright orange and blue ocean tanker that came with a cage, so I could do the scenes like that. But I remember the shark toy I had was this weird, like... I guess it wasn't that weird in retrospect, but it, like... You could push down on the dorsal fin and the jaw would open. And its stomach had this, like, flap that you could open so you could retrieve whatever the shark ate. And I had gotten a hold of... I don't think it was a stress ball. I think it was... some... not like Play-Doh. Because it wasn't Play-Doh. It was this, like... I'm struggling to describe it. Sand that was sticky. And there is a sand... I'm pretty sure I know you. You, dear Violin, may be thinking of, like, actual sand. But instead, I think it was really more akin to call it... kind of like a gravel, but it was squishy and blue. It was much larger than sand, like individual grains, but there were still a lot of them. Anyway, I had like, I fed the shark that, because I think I did like, I don't know, Shark versus the Blob or some crap. Or maybe was that like organs I was replicating? I like put the guys, I covered them in the, like, sticky stuff, and then fed them to the shark. And then the shark, because it broke the toy. I couldn't get the gunk out of the shark. I could never get, like, the right angle, so it just ruined the toy. I could never use it again. It always pissed me off. But it was... I'm thinking how I ruined it. Because I never played with the shark again. I think I played the tanker a lot, because it was cool as hell. It was this huge, like, free piece... just ocean liner. It was rad. Yes, I liked boats back then too. I'm not gonna give an age for when. I think this was like 7. This is when I lived. I think this is when I lived in Washington. So I think around 7 or 8. Around. That sounds right. Yeah. So when I was like that age, I still liked, like, aquatic stuff. Anyway, that should be everything. This is setting stuff up. We'll see how it pays off next show, which I'm not gonna forget this time is the long one. First show next month though. It's just a day off from next show being normal and the show after that being the long one, ending on a Friday. But May starts on a Friday. Anywho, thank you for watching and good Vile.